Hey y'all, this is Tracy Harrell. I am so excited today. This is the kickoff of a series that we're calling Better Together. It's super simple. We're going to share a couple quick slides initially, but the people that you see on the screen are just part of a community of individuals in action, committed to change in 2023 on topics that matter. We're all going to be talking about things like fostering inclusion, empowering businesses and Black wealth, and really focusing on what can we do to truly support our youth. This is going to be so exciting. So we do have a couple slides for you. So what we have is called the Better Together Empowerment Series, and it is being sponsored by the Seattle chapter of the National Black MBA Association. On the next slide, what you'll see is that we are not alone, right? These are some of the faces of the individuals that are here to truly drive change. So my question to you is, are you ready to be a part of something that's bigger than you? Are you ready to make impact in your community? All I can say is that now is the time and you are in the right place. So in addition to the National Black MBA Association, you'll see some organizations at the bottom that are part of this. So we have the Foster School of Business with the University of Washington. We have PLU, Pacific Lutheran University. My company is called It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting. And then WSMA is the Washington State Micro Enterprise Association. And they're partially responsible for some of the funding for this project. So we want to say a special thank you to that group. What you see on the next slide is really an opportunity for you to understand that this is not an event. We are committing to progress in 2023. We're asking you to register now, not just for today, but really to share and register for the next 6 series. There's some links here. We're going to put those in the chat for you. So they're going to be the third Thursday or the fourth Thursday of every month at 3 p.m. Pacific time or 6 p.m. Eastern time. And this is just the beginning, right? So what you're going to see next is really some of the amazing people that are going to be a part of this conversation. So, we're in Women's History Month. So, of course, with the month of March, this is the first of 6 sessions. And so we're pleased to have an all-female group of individuals that we're going to feature. Now, we do have some core team members on as well, but one of the individuals is going to be Debrina Jackson-Gandy. We'll go to the next slide and we'll go through really quickly. It's Melanie Cunningham. Melanie Denise Cunningham, the Peace Queen. We'll have her do an intro here in a second. Next, we're going to have, as a part of our, Erica Stricker actually is not going to be able to join us, but I kept her slide in because she has been such an amazing part of this conversation. And so she's one of those voices that you got to have, we got to have white people talking about fostering inclusion. It can't just be a bunch of Black people talking about driving change, right? We got to have people who are in roles that can truly change the status quo to really help to align from an allyship perspective, but also really driving change. And then next, and not least, is Miss Cynthia, one of my favorite people. She's part of the Black Collective. She'll talk in a second here, but she is just so powerful when it comes to why this matters and how we're all impacted. So now I'm going to introduce our core team real quick. These are faces that you're going to see and hear from in a moment, but my name is Tracy Harrell. I'm president of It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting, and we have Dr. James Carter, who's going to actually provide an introduction here. When they all introduce themselves, they're going to also be telling you why this is important and why you should also want to engage. The other part of our core team, real quick, is George Zeno, one of the smartest people that I know. I can honestly say that I've grown and continue to grow in his presence. We have Ms. Kennedy Cockrell, and then Dr. Alex Gabin is the founder of the National Black MBA Association at the national level. It's super exciting. And what he is going to do is be joining us today by video, but he's actually part of the overall, I'll call it the master plan as relates to driving change. So that is what's going to happen today in session 1. So we're going to get back to our people, and we're going to ask each of you to tell us who you are. And hello again, my people. I'm so excited. We're going to ask you to tell us who you are and why is it important for us to do this type of work together. Why is it better together? I'm going to start with George Zeno. I think you've been working with me the most, the deepest, and the longest. So tell me, George Zeno, why is this important?
Well, thanks, Dr. Harrell, for having us here and for really helping to set the tone of collaborating and learning together, and the role that the Black MBAs Association is playing in helping to foster this learning platform. So thank you all for supporting this. I think that we're now in an era where we have to admit that we are in the aftermath of the decisions that have already been made, and that we understand that the change that needs to happen is going to need new ways of thinking, new patterns. We're going to have to imagine things we've never seen before. And in order to make sure that we create the right platform for inclusion and belonging that we yearn for, that we learn how to build this new sense of place and being together. And I think it's critically important that we start with learning of each other, learning how to understand each other, translate the world to each other in ways that is going to require some effort and some sacrifice. So I think this is a great time to have that conversation, and it's critically important that we start this journey together.
I love it. Thank you so much. Peace Queen, MBA, Miss Melanie Cunningham. Same question for you. You've been doing this work for decades. I mean, a lot of us have been doing this work for decades, and you're doing a lot of amazing work at PLU as well. Introduce yourself and tell us, why is it important? Why is it better together? And you're muted, Miss Melanie.
As many times I should know this by now. Thank you, Dr. Harrell, for the invitation to be on this panel with these beautiful queens and George and others. We're better together because we just are. It's really that simple. There's strength in numbers. There's strength in unity. We have a common and shared culture as Black people that it really is time to mobilize who we are, to stop believing the okie doke that has been put upon us about all the negative things. We come from royalty. That is our history. And so it's the season for us to walk in it. And so there's so much hate and discontent that's out there that this is the season for us to rise up. It's the season for us to double down and double down on justice, double down on Blackness, double down on everything that we need and see as relevant to our transformation as liberated Black people. So I'm saying it's time, those of us that have these letters behind our name and all of that, we need to stand up, get it together. We got letters, we got businesses. Debrina got $1 million in her situation. Okay, that we have it all. It's just that our mindsets have been compromised over time. And I'd just like to insert Dr. Carter G. Woodson at this point. And for all our ancestors that aren't here, if you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. And so our minds have been commandeered over time on purpose. So let's just wake up and we know better. And so as a result, we're better together. Come on now. Back at you, Dr. Harrell.
I love that. I love that so much. But Debrina, I'm going to ask you next the same question. Why? First of all, introduce yourself and then tell us, why is it better that we do this together?
Well, hello, everybody. It is so good to be here. Thank you, Ms. Tracy, for having me back again and in this prestigious lineup of genius minds. Thank you for including me in that number. My, oh, my. I am president of Masterminds Unlimited, a 25-year company that does personal transformation and empowerment. The second division does business consulting, training, and coaching. And the third division does love relationships training and coaching. So why are we better together? I'm gonna keep it short because I concur with what Ms. Mel said already, but I'll add the 2 G's. One is it's time to activate our genius at whole new levels and embrace and own our greatness at whole new levels. Activate what I'm going to call our melanin magic. And if we can just begin to understand the spiritual qualities that are locked inside melanin, and then when we come together and synergize, how it creates a major activation and just like ride that power and that wave, that's amazing when that happens. And I would also say it's an opportunity to, of course, synergize, as I heard some folks say, but also bring our highest gifts and our highest passions, not just the mediocre ones, but the highest gifts and passions. And so when we're operating in all of that, we're unstoppable.
That is so beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. Again, this series is called the Better Together series. I see Dr. James Carter, who is looking quite handsome in the suit. I know you're traveling and you've been making space for us. Real quick, can you introduce yourself as well and just tell us, why is it Better Together? Why was it important for you to be a part of leading this initiative?
Sure. So my name is Dr. James Carter. I am the president of the National Black MBA Association, the Seattle chapter. I think it's better for us to work together because it's time. No one person can do this alone. In addition to it taking a village to raise a child, it takes a family to raise a neighborhood. It takes a neighborhood to raise a community. It takes a community to raise your city, your state. It elevates. And it's time for us as African Americans. It's time for our indigenous kings and queens. It's time for all of us to come together and to mobilize to create a better time, a better society, a better workplace for us all. So I think it's really important to show that teamwork makes the dream work, and no better time than right now, 2023. So please excuse me, like you said, Tracy. Yes, I'm traveling, and listen, my background keeps changing because what I try to do. How you doing, brother? I try to move away from where it's a little bit loud, and then as soon as I get to another location, more people come. So I apologize.
I see you. We see you with your little alpha thing on. This is your national conference, right?
Yes, it is.
We see you. Thank you for showing up, and we understand if you need to drop, we understand.
I'll be back and forth. I'm committed. So
You're committed. I like it. Thank you so much. So, Ms. Kennedy, I'm going to come to you next because you work. You're part of the University of Washington. Tell us who you are and tell us why is it important that we not only show up as entrepreneurs and as corporate leaders, but also show up and pour into our students.
Yes. All right. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Kennedy Cockrell. I go by she, her pronouns, and I am an assistant director at UW's Consulting and Business Development Center within the Foster School of Business. And my main role really is to increase our engagement with Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits through our number of consulting programs and business educational programs that really do allow our students, faculty, and staff to connect with racially and ethically diverse businesses and nonprofit communities. I think it's so important for our students to pour into our students, but pour into our business owners because that builds community. And I think when we have community, that truly is the gateway to understanding who we are and who we are individually and who we are as a people. And once we know truly who we are and what we bring to the table, then we can really tackle common goals together. So pouring into our students and allowing them to see what it takes to be an entrepreneur, especially exposing them to some of the wonderful, especially our Black-owned small business owners, really gives them a greater understanding of what it takes. And I think our small businesses really do help build community. And it's important for our students to see that and to expose that to them. Because I think, as Dr. Carter said, when I was in a meeting with him, our students are our future, but they also are our present. And it's so important to tap into them now, because they're going to be our leaders and in the future, but now. So, but that's my spill. Thank you, Dr. Tracy. I'm so excited to be in this room with some amazing individuals. It's truly an honor.
I love it. Thank you so much. We had over 120 people engaged in just a few days, so I was pretty excited that we were going to be doing this work. Now, this is a bit of a experiment using StreamYard, so we get to just broadcast information. It's not like Zoom where you're like, come into this little echo chamber and we're all here together, but we're broadcasting live on Facebook, multiple Facebook channels, multiple LinkedIn channels, YouTube, etc., etc., etc. So this is part of leaving a legacy. So I just want to clarify, when we talk about connecting with our youth, we're creating a book and a video series. All of this is going to be a clear roadmap on what success looks like. So the Better Together series is being designed very intentionally. So if you're part of this and you're in the chat, and we're going to bring some people in from the audience, because this is about you as well, just know that you're being a part of history. This is about leaving a legacy. And no one more than Miss Cynthia is all about leaving a legacy. Cynthia, you're one of the most passionate people I know on all the topics. Like, I've never been in a room with you when you were talking about fostering inclusion, focusing on entrepreneurship and Black wealth, as well as empowering our youth. So just tell me in general, why is it so important that we do this work together? Why is it better together?
Well, I want to specifically address the issue of youth, right? Because in our community where we come from, if you want to know how our village is doing and how they're thriving, they say, look at how our elders are doing and look at how our babies are doing. If our elders aren't doing well, we're not fostering and harnessing the wisdom. And if our babies aren't doing well, we're not sowing into our future and the people who will be our caregivers, right? So we need to do that. And why do we need to do it together? Let's think about this. The color Black, what has it always symbolized from day one? Black was one of the first hues or colors or fades or shades, depending on, what you refer to Black as, in the art world and in the art form. And it was first symbolized as power. That is way back in history, before Christ, Black meant power. So if we want to harness our power as a community, especially to empower and breathe into our young people who have to deal with our erasure and our marginalization in the systems that have been created all of these hundreds of years, they need to know who their power is, and we need to come together collectively to collectively have that power, right? So we can instill in them the growth, the strength, and the resilience to deal with all those systems that have been set up against them, right? Because they are our future. That is what we must do, right? With kindness, with generosity, showing boundaries, right? With love and respect and dignity, because everything about our babies, our youth is being denied. You are less than. You can't get a decent job. You can't get as much money because everything is close to proximity of whiteness. But if Black means power, and we have a structure that's set up to demean that power, then we need to claim it back as a collective group and instill into our young people that it's not proximity and closeness to whiteness. It's people trying to deny the fact that you are our power. Because guess what? You're Black and you're beautiful.
I love it. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do next, and this is just, probably it's just dear to my heart. So you all have heard the term Sankofa, correct? This idea of, the importance of looking back in order to look forward. And so one of the things that I want to do is I want to share a video. There's a little clip of a video that I did with Dr. Gabin. Dr. Alex Gabin is oh yes, there it is, y'all. She has the Sankofa bird. Thank you. That's what a Sankofa looks like. You want to tell us a little bit about the meaning? I was going to share, but please, you're muted. You're muted. Beautiful.
I said you go ahead. I'm just Vanna.
Oh, okay. You Vanna. You just Vanna. It's so beautiful. I don't actually have one in my house, so I'm going to make that the next place I go to. I'm actually going to, I don't have one in my house. I love it. I have pictures of one, but I don't have an actual statue. So I love it. But the idea of a Sankofa is the importance of looking back as we look forward. So you see how his head is looking backwards, but in the mouth, there's an egg that birthed. So we're actually birthing something new. But it's so important that we look back, that we connect with our ancestors, with our history. And so one of the individuals that's part of this initiative, that's part of our advisory team, that's fully committed, is Dr. Alex Gabin. He is the founder of the National Black MBA Association from back in 1970. And so we're going to have a quick video of Dr. Gabin giving us a little wisdom.
Do not know history will repeat it. So then the mistakes of the past will be repeated if you have not learned from the mistakes of the past. If you don't know what has happened, you're more likely to repeat it again. You've got to go ahead on and learn from the past so that you can then go ahead on and be in a better shape to go forward. And that's what happens to us. And the assumption somehow is that the system is there to help you. That's fallacious. That system was not set up for you. You are invading that system. And when too many of you are there, then you get to be a threat within that system. When you take a look at the escalator going up, and I like the example of the one in Atlanta, Georgia in particular, because it seemed like when you get off that train and get ready to go up that escalator, it looks like it's going all the way up to heaven. And most people, of course, they go ahead and they get on the up escalator to go on up to the next level. That's fine. But what I say is this. What I want, imagine you doing, I don't want you to go stand on the up escalator to go up. I want you to go up the down escalator. I say there are three things that are absolutely necessary. The first is that you got to make an effort. Because if you just go ahead on, you can just stand on the up escalator and it'll take you on up. But if you want to go up the escalator that's coming down, you got to make an effort. You just can't go and stand on it and go anywhere. The second thing that's important is that you have to make an effort that is greater than the downward force of that escalator. Because if you got some wimpy effort, then it's just not going to be enough to overcome that downward force. And you're going there again, you're going to get nowhere. But it's the third point, Tracy, that I consider to be absolutely critical and essential. The third point. The third point in going up the down escalator is you got to go all the way up. You can't get 90% of the way up that down escalator, working hard as you could be, overcoming the downward force. Got all the way up there, 90% of the way up there, you're almost near the top, and then you just start congratulating yourself of how well you've been doing. You just start telling the world how great you are. Stop moving those legs when you're 90% of the way up that escalator, and you're right back down on the first floor again. To go up the down escalator, you got to make an effort. The effort has to be enough to overcome the downward force, and you got to go all the way up. We still in the process of going all the way up, because when you are looking like us in this society where the name has changed, but not the thing, you are still on an up. You're going up a down escalator. What do I mean? The system is not set up to raise you to a higher level. That system is set up to benefit somebody else. And so you are assigned to the up escalator by the way laws are interpreted. You are assigned to the up escalator by the way people look at you. You are assigned automatically to the up escalator by virtue of them not having a carpet on the floor or a curtain across the stage. And so when you're on that up, and thank goodness there are people who are on the up escalator who were kind enough to look over and try to help some of us out. Thank goodness there are people who are decent enough to recognize that the system is skewed and they're going to try to be as helpful as they can. But they're still on the up escalator themselves. We're the ones going up the down escalator. And in going up that down escalator, we've got to keep on moving.
Did y'all hear that? We got to keep on moving. So that's what Better Together is really all about. Like, we got to just keep moving, right? We have to stay connected to these goals that we all say is important. If they're important, then we have to do the work. We have to be leaders in the work, and we have to take people on this journey with us. So right now, I'm just curious if anyone had any comments before we talk a little bit more about why this is important, how we're going to move forward. Anybody have any comments about what you heard Dr. Gavin say? Peace Queen.
Yeah, I heard a couple things. So he said, you got to go all the way up. That's what he said, all the way up. And he said systems quite a few times, right? So I'm totally intrigued by systems. And systems can be continuously improved, right? And so we are these fancy MBA people and all of that. We have tactics, continuous improvement, plan, do, check, act, plan, do, check, act, right? That is continuous improvement. So what I'm hearing him say is it's time to check what we're doing and act a different way. Okay, and we know that going up is against the current. So that's a double down situation. That's the way I look at it. Double down. I'm coming back to that. Double down on everything. And so since many of us are working inside of, and again, some of you have heard me say it before, but I stick to it. I liken the workplace to a plantation. So some of us are inside of these plantations. Some of us have run out of these plantations. And if we are inside, right, we need to turn this entrepreneurial acumen that we have into intrapreneurial actions. Okay, so where you are, the art of war strategy, which is no bloodshed, infiltrate, learn the enemy secrets, win the hearts of the people. That's Sun Tzu, and look it up. But the situation is we've reached these pinnacles of success. Now let's use our minds with what we've learned to be entrepreneurial about our liberation. I'll leave it at that.
Did y'all hear that? Be entrepreneurial about our liberation. I'm all in. Yes, yes, and yes. That's what this is all about. I love it. Debrina Jackson Gandy, I saw you taking some notes over there. What were you writing? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted, Debrina. Is she muted?
She is muted.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
As Dr. Gavin was speaking, I was thinking about my upbringing in Lacey, Washington, which is 15 minutes from the state capital, Olympia, and about an hour and a half from Seattle. So I grew up in a small town, and when we moved there, you could count the number of Black families on one hand. And there was no Black church, and my mother and father were instrumental in helping to establish the first Black church in Thurston County in the modern era that is still there today, and the largest Black church in the county. And I was thinking about what happened that I grew up in a predominantly white environment, but I am rooted in my Blackness and have a love relationship with it. And it was, first of all, a mindset renewal separate from what the social and racial narrative was. In our house, we had renewed minds, and my parents talked about it. And they also reminded us of the truth of who we are, not based upon any socially dictated or determined, identity. So that whole piece of renewing your mind that Melanie talked about, you have got to renew your mind, heal your mind, so that your identity is not prescribed by the larger dominating culture. And so when I look at the fruit of the mind renewal, the mindset upgrade, the clear your mind, clean your mind, purify your mind, and move all the funky, faulty conditioning and programming out. And then when you upgrade your understanding of who you are, you can transcend a whole bunch of stuff. And I look at my sister, I look at my brother, my parents who built a Black-owned multi-million-dollar business, to this day are the largest Black landowners in Thurston County. And I look at the path that me, my sister, and brother are on, all owning our own businesses. Our running joke that I put out to my brother and sister was, let's see who makes it to $1 million first. And we all are going to cross that line in annual revenues in our respective businesses. But we have that's our bar we're going for. Like, oh, let's see which of the Jackson kids makes it to $1 million first. We all are going to be millionaires. So what even has me think that way? And it really has to do with the mindset that was set about this in my household, and it trumped whatever was going on outside of the household. We took it with us outside of the household. And then this whole identity upgrade, knowing the truth of who we were, which meant that identity had to elevate beyond what was prescribed by the larger culture. So that's what I was reflecting on as Dr. Gabin was speaking, my own experience, and how what enabled us and empowered us in Lacey, Washington, as Black folks, to have experiences that can be very different from what many of us experience in a predominantly white environment. So that's what I was reflecting on, Tracy. And it really is right up here in this self-concept. And when that changes and when that elevates, it's like a hot knife through butter. It cuts some stuff away. So that's what I was reflecting on and taking notes on. So thank you for noticing that.
Listen, so just for the record, people, mindset is an area where I am absolutely passionate, and I am participating in a program with Miss Debrina Jackson Gandy, this transformational coaching certification through her Masterminds program, and it's all about mindset. So Debrina, just talk a little bit more about that, because George is going to share a little bit at the end about truly changing a system is about changing people so that we can change organizations, and that's how we truly change, right? But it's bigger than just us. My company's called It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting, because it's all bigger than me. But let's just talk a little bit about the importance of the mindset, because all of our areas of focus require a shift in mindset. Everything you want to do in life requires that you really focus on mindset. So tell us a little bit about mindset, and we call this a transformational experience. It's called the Better Together we say, join us for a transformational experience. Talk a little bit about transformation, Debrina. What is that, and how do we transform?
Well, briefly, in the approach to coaching that I teach, there is an emphasis on beliefs. And a lot of times we talk about feelings, and then we talk about the thoughts that give rise to those feelings. But even more foundational in the bedrock of our identity is the beliefs that make up our core coding. And there's individual beliefs, there's family beliefs, there's cultural beliefs, and then we personally have beliefs in different areas of life. And so that's the depth of the looking at and healing and upgrading that we do with my approach to transformational coaching. And so what constitutes a mindset is a collection of beliefs. So in order to really elevate the mindset, then you have to impact at the level of the core coding the truths that a person or group of people are operating from as if it were truth. And so that's why that's really where the focus is, as a leverage point that changes everything. When you get to the level of beliefs, that's the most innermost architecture of mindset.
I love it. Thank you so much. So we talked about driving change. And again, each of you are here not for just today's session. We said this is just a little kickoff, right? We have a mission. I think we all understand the assignment. And the assignment is not to leave this earth without contributing and doing why we were put on this earth, contributing our skills to create a better place for others. We say it's better together because we know that in order to drive true transformational change, we are going to have to do that together. And so we decided to focus on 3 primary focus areas. And it was important, and we'll do a whole nother session in detail about this, but the first one is this idea of fostering inclusion and belonging in business. And that's critical for a number of different reasons. We're inviting people who are part of these diversity resource groups. We're saying, hey, if you're a leader who wants to create a new level of engagement within your organization, if you're someone who's within an organization where this is part of the work that you do or part of the work that you want to ensure that you're a part of, right? You want to be a part of the solution. This is going to be an area where we're going to have separate spotlights, separate conversations, separate strategy sessions directly focused on fostering inclusion in business. It's going to be critical. The second area of focus is really around supporting Black businesses and Black wealth. And there's, Debrina, this is another area that you focus on. You do a whole Elevate series. We could talk about that. You do a number of things that are focused on supporting Black businesses and Black entrepreneurship. Well, the National Black MBA Association and I separately, It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting, we got some funding through WSMA, and we're going to be pouring into Black businesses. We're going to be offering free training and capacity building resources to Black businesses to increase their success rates and to increase sustainability. I've never met a professional who did not want to buy more Black. So we're also connecting being successful in business in a corporate space with supporting Black businesses. And what's also critical, as Cynthia mentioned earlier, is this idea of empowering youth. So really investing in our youth, creating better outcomes for them, showcasing what we know and what we've learned so that they have a better experience, so that they're uplifted and able to be more successful. That's the other piece of what we're going to be doing. So if we had to just focus on, thank you, Nathan, for sharing that. Just wanted to kind of reground people on what we're doing. And there's going to be different work streams for each of those. Right? Our work today is just to introduce the concept. We're putting a survey in the chat. It's called Better Together Series Feedback 1, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to share your voice. Again, we had over 120 something people actually apply and sign up for this space within just a few days. And again, we're broadcasting live. You know, we had some requests to do more intimate sessions as well. But we want to hear from you. We need to hear from you. So when you watch this replay, when you connect with this group, we want to hear from you. So there's a survey that we're asking you to share with us. Why are these 3 focus areas important? Why do you want to do, and what would you like to see happen differently? And George Zeno, I know that, you know, I'm going to ask you to just comment really quickly on the idea of why is it this so important that we bring in the voices of community?
Yeah, one of the things that I appreciate about Dr. Gavin's message about going up the down escalator really is about focusing on moving ourselves out of the downstream arena and into the upstream arena. We know the upstream is where power is. And so, we have to be mindful that the power brokers are planning our lives for us. They're using their theories, their beliefs in how the environment should function for all of us. And so when you account for that, as the queens on the panel have already said about our brilliance and our imagination have to be brought forward, we have to go upstream to do that, which means that we need to make sure that we center the community's voice around us, that we are asking who's missing from our conversation, and that we are asking the right and appropriate questions, because we are bringing our lived experience forward. Our lived experience is part of the assets of our community. And so making sure that we have the ability to connect with people, to co-create, to give that feedback, to challenge what the patterns that's in front of us is critically important if we're going to move up that escalator, and if we're going to make it upstream. So I think it's fundamental that we better understand how to cooperate and collaborate in this era. We can't do this on our own. We're interdependent of each other, and we need each other's knowledge and experience to help guide us into paths we've not seen before.
Thank you so much. Y'all, can you believe we have 20 minutes left in this conversation. So I'm going to ask Miss Cynthia, I'm going to ask you to share, when we were talking about fostering inclusion, and you and I are part of the Black Collective. And initially, we were talking about, we're part of the health committee. And you and I have had several conversations on this topic. But when you talk about why is fostering inclusion so important to our health, why is it so important for a business owner? Why should they care? I mean, we were talking about the organization WEAR, Washington Employers for Racial Equity, right? They've made these grand declarations about what they're doing, and they've said all the right things. I'm excited to partner with them. They reached out to us and said, hey, we want Black MBA to support us in doing this work. They said they want us to help to amplify and accelerate the work that they're doing. But if you had to talk to someone about why it's important and how we're actually impacted, what would you say to someone about how they're going to benefit in their business and how it's going to impact us, how it's impacting us today?
First of all, I didn't say hello and to thank you, Dr. Tracy, for having me here amongst these wonderful, extraordinary, beautiful brothers and sisters. So thank you. I'm humbled. And Debrina, we need to talk offline. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Sending you a hug. So to answer your question, one thing we do know is that racism is a public health crisis, and that there are health implications of racism. Racism has resulted in lower life spans, higher death rates, higher rates of diabetes, hypertension, cancer, etc. And so we know that racism causes health disparities amongst those who are on the receiving end of racism. That means folks with some melanin. So what happens is in business, if you are not transforming the paradigm and mindset of your business to remove the anti-Black, the indigenous erasure, if you're not removing those racist systemic systems within your business culture, you are contributing to the health disparity of your Black and brown workers, which means you're getting less from them, you're helping to kill them, and they're not getting they're not contributing to the extent that they can to do what? We in the private sector, your bottom line, you're not getting as much cash flow. So you're actually hurting your own business by not investing in changing those systems within your own organization that is preventing from getting the best and the most out of your workers, your melanin workers, right? So what can you do? Number one, let's look at your wellness program. In your wellness program and your employee assistance programs, do you have Black businesses? Do you have Black therapists? Do you have Black and brown health organizations and wealth organizations, does the health insurance that you provide require that people of color, Black and brown doctors and physicians, and are they at the table? The dentists, right? And if you have someone in your company who comes to you and says, hey, I have this Black dentist over here, but it's not covered under my dental insurance, I want to bring them in. Do you help advocate for your employees to do that? Right? So there are some things that you can do within your own organization to make sure that you are fostering and incorporating a sense of inclusion so that you can help your employees do better and be better to combat these systems, right, that your organization has perpetrated for decades, right? We adopt more. Do you allow in the Black community, do you allow and offer to your employees more FLMA and more time off to be able to adopt and handle that? Do you provide any assistance for that, right? There are so many different things that you can do within your business. Do you correct for equitable pay, not equal, equitable pay, right? Do you provide them training opportunities? Do you invite your employees, your Black and brown employees out to lunch like you do the white employees, right? There are some things that you can change so that you can create an environment where you can get the most out of your employees.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all, there's so much more we're going to be doing during this series. What I did want to create a space for is Miss Peace Queen. I know you wanted to make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing some great work. Do you want to share a little bit about that as well?
Okay.
What's coming up?
Listen, I want to invoke my grandmama's wisdom right here.
Yes.
She said, Grandma Louise said, fat meat is greasy. Let's just say it and say it out loud.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm a Southern girl. Can you just say that again, please? You said
fat meat is greasy. Okay, now Dr. Cynthia was speaking on everything that you should be doing. And the fact that you are not doing it is what is causing racial trauma in your people. So I'm trying to talk to the people. I'm not trying to talk to the corporations. And while I appreciate the 3 little areas that the MBA is focusing on, the belonging and inclusion part, I'm going to just pause on that because fat meat is greasy. Do we want to spend our energy trying to get somebody to understand that we belong? I'm saying that can we first of all add technology to the list, because I feel like that's something that should absolutely be called. So where in technology, especially artificial intelligence, this whole AI piece, are we finding ourselves involved in the conversation? Because it's all about our babies. It is all about our babies. And so right now I feel like when we're talking about systems, it's important to be creating parallel systems that are built human-centeredly, designed by us, for us, right? For us, by us. Come on, FUBU, right? But like, it's that season that we have to say, listen, you've had all the time in the world to try to make us feel like we belong. We know what it takes to belong, okay? I mean, so I'm happy with belonging and inclusion, but it just feels like we begging to be somewhere that don't nobody want us. Hello.
Is that the fat meat is greasy?
Fat meat is greasy. That is like the basic MBA strategy that I can put out there in simple terms. Snap, snap, drop the mic and pass it on.
Thanks. I love that so much. Thank you very much.
I just have to say, I love that. I think at UW. Along with my role, I also work as staff advisor for Black at Foster, which is an umbrella term for both Black student groups, Association for Black Business Students, and then the National Association for Black Student Accountants. And I think it's so important that as much as we want to be included, it's okay to create our own spaces. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to create our own spaces, because I think at the end of the day, we are so powerful and we can learn from each other for so much. And I'm glad that I'm a part of this, because bringing our students in and allowing them to see individuals like you, Peace Queen, and speaking your mind is so important. And I can't wait for our youth to see that, to hear that, to look for mentors, and know that one thing that you said, learning from within. A lot of our students want to be entrepreneurs and startups, but sometimes you got to start from somewhere, and they're going to be the ones that can be those change makers. And starting from within and learning and being strategic, having that is priceless. It's more than what a degree. I think just sitting with you. So I don't know. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that piece. All of this is great, but our youth need to see that.
They need
that's so important.
I thank you for saying that. That's really what this is about. Some of you know that I actually had a stroke on Christmas Day and of 2023. So like just a few months ago. And it was just a reminder that we can't like sit on our laurels. Like there is no time but the present. We've been having this same conversation for 53 years. Dr. Gavin was here in Seattle 2 weekends ago. He was at my church. We went out to dinner. We had brunch. He was like, Tracy, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I need you. Like it fuels me to actually have the founder of the organization that I've been a part of for over 25 years to be here saying, keep hoping, like keep it moving. Right? We got to keep it moving. So we all actually need to keep it moving, right? That's really going to be what I'm going to ask you all to talk about during the last 9 minutes is basically, what would you say to someone who's like, I'm good. I got my job. I'm doing my thing over here. I'm good. I don't need any better together. I don't need to do anything that's going to help anyone else. I'm good. Who wants to share a call to action? Who wants to share something that might tug at the heart? Yes, Debrina?
Well, this also goes back to those 3 areas you talked about: the inclusion and belonging, the supporting Black wealth, and then empowering youth development. And I wanted to just share some real brief scenarios from real life of mine where I have seen the power of each of these. So I'm going to start with the empowering youth development. So I have 16 mentees, and that is part of what I believe empowers youth development is internships, apprenticeships, or mentoring. So I have a mentor who is a master's in social work and has a therapy practice. She created an internship, SISTA, and it was an unpaid internship. So we don't have to always think, oh, I don't have the money to hire a young person as an intern. It was an unpaid internship, and experience was the currency. Because of that internship from one of my mentees, my daughter became one of the interns at my mentee's practice. Because of the experience that she got in that internship, when she went to grad school in Georgia, in Atlanta, she was at the top of her class. And after graduating and moving into her training, she was at the top of her class and got Therapist of the Year. But that's because of the internship, unpaid internship she had at another Black business who happened to be a mentee of mine. So see the ecosystem there. And now she's being mentored by a sister therapist who's been in the business a long time, and it's continuing. Second example around Black business wealth. Businesses, we have to remember, are assets, and they allow us to own, and they are something that can be passed on as a legacy. And because of what I've been able to do through the vehicle of my enterprise, my husband and I were able to turn around and on March 1st instate a scholarship at my alma mater for African-American student leaders. So now my business turns around to provide a resource to other African Americans in the higher ed environment. And I get to say who it's for because it's our dollars. Then the example of the Elevate Direct Impact Dollars initiative, where we went to Black folks and said, will you put money into a collective pot? And then those dollars are going to then be awarded back out to Black businesses to support their growth. So we're now in the second year of that. 17 businesses have benefited from the dollars that came from Black folks. No grants begging organizations and foundations for money. We got dough. Then the Reb Initiative, which was founded by Ezel's Famous Chicken, Louis Red, and his family. I'm the project manager for that as well. And a Black business went out to their relationships and said, will you give money to finance and fund and help leverage the growth of Black businesses? And so those are real examples of real things happening where we are doing it together and we're better together. The last thing really quick has to do with when I was formerly on the board at Highline College, and the year in which I was the chair of the board. For the first time in the 55-year history of the college, they hired an of color president who was an African-American man. And I think about the three things that were critical to breaking a 55-year pattern. One, I was in a position of power. I was the board chair in the year of hiring a new president. Then I had the will and the board had the will. And thirdly, we changed our processes to be more relational. So we have to also be willing to change our processes, because the way Brown and Black people function, we operate from a village and relational basis as a lot of currency in our communities. So I just wanted to share those three quick examples of real stuff, real impact, real change that I've had a chance to be involved in, even when it's been a 55-year history of all Caucasian leadership at this particular college. And in 1 year, that's all I had was 1 year as board chair. How did we break a 55-year cycle at a state institution? So just wanted to share those three examples real quick of on the ground, real stuff that is creating serious change.
I love that. Thank you so much. There's lots of activity in the chat. And again, this is a little bit of an experiment for us, right? We moved from Zoom, the echo chamber of Zoom, into this broadcast live situation. So we had about 120 people who engaged and said they were going to be engaging in some way. So we just want you to know that we want to hear from you. So in the chat, we keep putting in the, there's a link, there's a feedback link, but we're also going to bring some of you on camera. So if you're brave enough to join us, Nathan, our producer, is actually going to be able to email him. We put the email in the chat. It's thirdbasemanmiller@gmail.com. So if anyone wants to join, email him right away and he will send you the link to join us directly. But what we're going to do in our last few minutes, so we got 3 minutes in the main session. And because I participated in several of the Brina Jackson Gandy series, she coined a phrase that was afterflow. It was afterflow or afterglow. I don't know.
Afterflow, yes,
afterflow. So we're going to do a little afterflow for anyone who has a question. We're going to end on time, but then we're going to create a space for any of you who want to join to ask a question. Put a question in the chat. We will answer it immediately. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what's coming up next. So first, we're going to do a quick kind of rapid fire in our last 2 minutes. If you had to give someone specific directions on what they should do and why they should get involved in the Better Together Empowerment Series, what would you say? You got 20 seconds. George Zeno, what would you say to get someone engaged?
I'd say, it's time to learn. And we all have to figure out what to do the next step together. This is the time to be creative, and we need you. You're an asset. So come join us.
I love it. Kennedy, what would you say to students and others? And again, part of this is we're connecting the Black student unions across universities. We're connecting the Black diversity resource groups across organizations. We're inviting white entrepreneurs and white leaders to say, look, it's time for you to stop talking about the change, and we can help you to be about real change. This is about true transformation. And just to be clear, this is a mountaintop experience. Everyone's not going to make it to the mountaintop. This is not for everyone, right? We understand that. But if it's for you, we invite you to join us. Kennedy, what would you say to students?
Yeah, I mean, after hearing everyone, like the time is now. It's now. This work has to happen now, and there's no one else that's going to do it but us. It's the youth. It's us. It's everyone. You know, every generation. Because the work that we're doing, we're laying a foundation for those to come after us. So, how do we want that foundation to look? We have the tools to do it, so why not do it now? So that's all I have to say. But yeah. Hand it back
I
to you.
love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I see Dr. Carter, you joined us. We're in the rapid fire phase of what would you tell someone about why they should join us and why they should join us now? Why is the Better Together series?
We cannot wait to pay it forward. We need to do that right now. Don't wait until you've attained a certain level of education or a certain level of power. Start paying it forward right away, because the people that we're paying it forward to really need that assistance, really need that push. They really need that encouragement.
Thank you so much. I love that. Peace Queen, Miss Melanie Cunningham. You're muted, darling. You're muted.
I said double down on everything, double down on justice, double down on anti-Blackness, double down on trifling, double down, okay?
We're going to talk a little bit more about what's coming up in our afterflow. Cynthia, same question for you. What would you share with people on how they should engage?
That you're a leader, whether you recognize it or not, because somebody's always watching you, and they're not going to tell you, I like your head wrap, so I'm going to go get me one and do the same thing. The greatest form of flattery is when someone emulates you. So the question is, whether you want the leadership role or not, you are a leader. What are you going to bring to your leadership ability? You going to bring your A game, or you going to bring your no game? It's incumbent upon you. So bring your best, right? And bring your best, meet the test, and help bring on the rest.
Okay, you got to put that in the chat. Whenever we rhyme, you got to put that in the chat. That's good. That's really good. I appreciate all the comments.
My sister. Rap on. Rap on, sister. Rap on.
I love it. Sabrina, what you got? You gonna rhyme and rhyme? What do you got? What can you tell us?
2 words. Plug in. Plug in. Plug in.
I love it, y'all. Thank you. So, Al said he's gonna bring all his games in. I love it. I love it. There's some great comments in the chat. We're gonna officially just say thank you for all of you who joined today. Thank you for those who want to join. We're gonna put the link again in the chat for a survey. If you want to be a part of this, you can visit us at the SeattleBlackMBA.org. It's www.SeattleBlackMBA.org. This is the Better Together Empowerment Series, and this is about true transformation. Join a community in action. Now really is the time. And what we can say is it really is better together. We got this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Now we're gonna have a little music. Oh, we got a guest that's popped in. Okay, so keep bringing some of our guests in. I love it. Go ahead and bring her in. I see someone from the. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Can you guys hear me?
You sound great. You look amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
So this is the official afterflow. So we just wanted to get your thoughts about the session. Why are you here? Why is it better for us to do this work together?
Wow. I mean, I don't really know where to start. I've had this is sort of like a second invite that I've gotten from Miss Tracy, Dr. Tracy. Just sitting here and listening to everybody and learning. I'm like writing my little notes. There's a bunch of different things here. Bring your A game, bring your best. It's time to learn, be creative, all of the things. For me, I'm in this like transitional space. So this is great where we were talking about the whole diversity and inclusion and looking for work. And I'm in a space where I'm trying to start my own business. And there were some things that I hadn't thought about where, looking for a seat at the table, creating your own table kind of thing. Like I've listened to a lot of you guys mention that, where also as now a business owner to be, trying to create a space for the employees that I will have is something that I hadn't thought of, where I'm like, yes, I do want to create a space where, in terms of the things that I thought were missing in my job, I want to be able to create those things for the people that I do hire. So it's not always about, then where do I get that? Just kind of going by my own experiences is how I know what not to do and what to do. So I'm very excited to, learn more, to come to more of these sessions. Session 1, I'm going to be here up until session 6 to learn and grow. And so just for me, it was more of just to say thank you to Dr. Tracy and everybody else that's on this panel. All the information that you've shared and just looking to learn more, but definitely thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I think I remember you at the Living Powerfully series as well. We were talking about transformational mindsets and really driving change.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. So there's a lot happening in the community. So again, we're going to continue to ask people to join in, but we also want to talk about what's happening next. Peace Queen, you have a major event that's happening on March 30th that the National Black MBA is going to be attending, joining you. Can you tell us a little bit about the People's Gathering, one of our next steps, please?
Yes, please. Just type it in the search engine. Type in the People's Gathering, and it'll come up. And what that is it's a demonstration of doubling down. We have created a space that decenters whiteness, so white folks can come to a conference and see how it's done where they're not in the center of everything. And so it really does provide an eye-opening experience for folks to see, whoa, okay, this is how it works. I don't get to interrupt and use my privilege to derail the truthful conversation about race. I don't get to do that. No, you don't get to do that. And so the thing that is really cool about it, I think the point of distinction is that we use a system that has been forced upon us, the census, right? And the census forces us into the race conversation every 10 years. You see how aggressive they get. They go to your kids' school. They come on TV in your house, invasive, trying to make you fill out a box and put yourself in a race category, and then they don't want to talk about it for the next 10 years. So we use that system for registration. And so you register for this conference based on the box that you check on the census form. And then you go into a room of those people that is facilitated expertly by people who check the same box, but have a clue about, guiding a truthful conversation about race and systemic racism. They know what to do. And so what happens is white people get to be in their room and talk about white people stuff. So I've never been in a white room before, so I can't tell you, but I can tell you that I have my best white people on it.
Well, Peace Queen, don't feel bad. A whole bunch of us haven't been in the white room, so
yeah, no, exactly. So, but I've heard that it is, very rich and authentic, and there's so many different mindsets of whiteness in that room that they hold each other accountable, okay, and for the conversation. But the beauty then becomes that Black and brown people we have our own room. And contrary to what white people think, we don't spend 1 minute talking about them. You understand? So people are busy trying to see what white people always want to come in our rooms. Now, while we cannot, I can't say what room you can go into or not. And especially when we used to have this in person, it was a really interesting dynamic. White folks wanting to go in the Black room when the instructions clearly say you go in the room based on your lived experience of the box you check on the census form. I always want to go in there. But what happens in a conference that decenters whiteness, we are all empowered to check you. Like, what you doing here? Why you here? And then what has happened is I've seen fragility show up, and then that's the point of learning. Okay, so we flipped the script.
Interesting.
We flipped the script, and so this time I'm really excited to announce our collaboration with the Black MBA to take over the facilitation of the Black Room this time. And so I'm really excited for what you all will bring. You know, Black folks, we're open, and the people come from all walks of life. We average around 400 to 500 people online. They come from state government. They come from a lot of government people. And then we have, you know, corporate sector and nonprofits, and folks come over and over. This is our 12th convening, and we've got a wonderful formula that we have created, and people really appreciate it. So if you're able to attend, just look up the People's Gathering online and join us. There's a special code, I would say. If you're a follower of National Black MBA, then get in touch with them, because we have a code for folks to register that will help you with the registration fees. So scholarship those. So let us know. It's an experience to behold, I promise you. You'll be like, what? Did she just say that? And it's like, yeah, she did.
I love it. So email president@seattleblackmba.org if you're interested in joining us at the People's Gathering. It's going to be on March 30th.
March 30th. Now, a week from today.
March 30th.
Yes.
And it's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's basically a full day. Amazing
it's from
agenda.
8:30 to 4. 8:30 to 4. It's a full day. You can come in and out. And pray tell, what do you think our theme is? Double down on justice.
Doubling down, y'all. We're doubling down. I am so excited.
Yes.
Does anyone else have any comments that they want to share? Again, 8:30 to 4 p.m. is our next conversation. We also have, again, the survey. I'm going to have them put the survey in the chat again. On 3:30, the People's Gathering is it's going to be amazing. I'm excited about that. And then if you can share the slide that shows our next steps, that would be awesome. So again, this is a 6-session series. We made it very simple. It's the 4th Thursday of every month, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. But there are going to be other sessions, like we're doing deep dives. We have to, right? This is just the opportunity to say we are committed to driving change. So go back to the, again, this is about real change, requires real actions, right? And it starts with each of us taking responsibility to be a part of the solution. So this really is designed for us, no matter who you are, whether you're a business leader, a professional, an entrepreneur, a scholar, a student. This is about helping you to achieve those goals that we've all been talking about, right? This is our commitment to progress. If you look at the next slide, it actually talks about that this is a series. What you can expect is these continued conversations, right? This 6-session series, 4th Thursday of every month. So the first session was 3/23/23. Our second session is going to be on 4/27/23. The third session is 5/25/23. Again, the 4th Thursday of every month. And then you can expect, visit the National Black MBA Association's website, seattleblackmba.org, and you'll hear about other spotlights. We're going to be going live. Like, we're making sure that we're creating a true roadmap for success. So we're not just hosting live sessions, by the way. We're creating a book and a video series that will be provided free to high schools and colleges and made available to professionals and leaders so that you actually have a clear roadmap for success. This is about truly driving change. Thank you so much, Nathan, for sharing those slides. So much more to come. Does anyone have any final words that they want to share as we transition? And I am going to end in prayer. But any final words?
It's not necessarily a final word, but just something for people to think about, is that when you learn how to breathe, it becomes innate. You don't think about it anymore. You just do it. You've got to be intentional about changing your mindset, about bringing your A game, the things that you want to do and the things that you want to change. So you need to know your why, right? Debrina talked about this. What is your why? What is motivating you? What is making you breathe every day to get up to say, I'm going to do something? What is that? And when you know that why, you harness it. My why is I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept, right? The amazing Angela Davis, right? That's my why. So I'm very intentional about changing a whole bunch of stuff. And even though that elevator is going down, sometimes I take a helicopter, sometimes I take a plane, sometimes I ski, sometimes I'm on a moped, sometimes I'm on a bike. There are a whole bunch of ways I can go up, right? What did they say? You can go around, you can go over, you can go through, you can go under, right? The question is, are you keeping moving? Do you know your why? And are you intentional, right? Be intentional. Think about that. Wake up. I got a plan today and I'm going to execute it. And it's a good one.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Any other final words before I'm going to offer Dr. Carter the final words after anyone else on this panel wants to share?
I was looking at, we had one or two more people in the chat who had questions. If you want to get to those.
Oh, please. Would you highlight them for us? What are the questions?
Sure. We have, there's a Tanisha that would like to join us and a Darius.
So you guys have to, if you can put your email in the chat real quick.
Darius.
Oh, Darius. Hello.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just want to get on here real quick. I'm about to get off work, but I was definitely inspired by everyone's thoughts on, together we are better, because that is definitely a true statement. Together we are better. With unity, there is power, because together we are better. And with their wisdom, there is power. And when there is numbers, there is power. And when we just come together with understanding, there is power. So I just really, really, really thank you guys for taking the initiative to want to just come on and change the trajectory, to put that out there and just to go live stream, because change need to happen. I mean, yes, we sit around and we talk about it all the time, but the way you guys just unfolded this really did something to me. So I wanted to come on here and face my fears and just say thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, because together we are better and there's power in us. So I just want to say that. Thank you guys so much.
I love it. So Darius, put your contact information in. You know, once you hooked, you hooked. Once you woke, you can't be unwoke. So you consider yourself part of the team. So it is on. Like I said, this ain't for everybody. Thank you for addressing what you consider your fears. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. And,
Yes.
and I want to say this to Dr. Debrina and Dr. Cynthia. You both was talking about the mind. I have a story, but I'm not gonna go there. But I had to change my mindset in order for me to get where I'm at today. And the moment I realized my why, that's what had me to fight. That's what had me to push. No matter what the naysayer said, no matter what nobody said about me, I knew my why. And I knew that within me, I had power. So once I looked within me and I changed that subconscious mind, that's when I was able to reach my goals. So thank you guys for saying that.
I love
Thank
it.
you so
Darius,
much.
before you go, this is one of the things I do is I like to connect with my people. So before you go, you said you have a story, right? And as I mentioned, this whole series is being included. We're using this to create both a book and a video series.
Right.
So if you had to talk to your younger self, what would you say to your younger self about the lessons learned? You say you have a story. What lesson learned would you share with someone else watching? That's why we're doing this. We're doing this for the next generation. We're doing this for the other people who may not have people like us in their lives.
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna keep it simple. Whatever negative that is trying to come up against you, whatever force is trying to come up against you, is only temporary, because you are stronger and you are bigger to cross that hurdle. So give yourself time and be patient with yourself, because you will get through it. And I want to say that whatever it is that's trying to come up bigger against you, you are bigger than that, and you will get across the hurdle.
Woo! Y'all give him a round of applause. Yes.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
That is so beautiful. Darius, make sure you put your contact information in the chat. Make sure our producer has it. Thank you. Mwah. That was so beautiful.
And thank you for calling me Dr. Darius. I'm not a doctor. And I don't take that lightly. My goodness, those who have earned the degree. So I appreciate that.
I love it.
Do we have do we have a Tanisha?
Hello, everybody. And in the room with royalty. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to drop in. I was listening online and I thought, wow, my biggest thing is community and bringing people together. And so to hear, people wanting to come together and step out of silos and to push that, it does my heart some good, because I understand that we can't do it alone. And when we try to do it alone, the weight that we carry trying to do it alone is just, it's a weight. And so when we come together and we link arms and we push the work forward, the love that grows out of that for each other and for our community is just amazing. And so when I saw the live and I saw all these beautiful faces and familiar faces, I had to join and just say shout out to you all. I appreciate you. As the Federal Way Black Collective Executive Director, this is exactly what we're trying to push out in Federal Way. And so I plan to see all your faces out there soon. So
I love it. Tanisha, put your contact information in here as well.
Yes.
So then if you're leading, and I've kind of connected with you guys, I've been on some of your calls.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about why is it better together? Like, what would you say about the why?
The why is because we can't do it alone. And, there's areas where I'm weak, where you're strong. And so if I'm trying to do things that are not in my lane, then it's bound to fail. But if I can lean on you where you are stronger and glean from your expertise and, back and forth, then we're bound to be successful. And so I think that's so important. And a lot of times, everybody wants the limelight, but if we're all shining, then what's the problem, right? We're working together. So, I don't know. I'm just big on community and family, and I just love my community. So, yeah.
We love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Any final words? How do people find you with the Federal Way Black Collective? How do they find you?
Yes. You can reach me at info@fwblackcollective.com or TanishaCares@gmail.com. I'm on social media. You can always find me. I'm out there. I'm working.
When do you gather?
I'm sorry.
When do you gather?
We're working on our community meetings. We had one this past Tuesday, but we are going to be changing the dates because we are wanting our Federal Way mayor to join us. And so we found that our meetings are falling on the days of the city council. So now we're restructuring and reorganizing so that we can have a meeting. So it'll come out soon. So
Thank you so much. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. The work that you all are doing is so powerful, and it is better together. So I look forward to joining you for future sessions. We look forward to you having us as a part of what you're doing as well. And we just heard the next session is 3:30, y'all. We're all going to be convening with Pacific Lutheran University at the People's Gathering on 3:30. And I think, George, you've put the link in the chat a few times. If you can just add that in one more time. That's the next time we're going to connect. And we are going to drive change, y'all. This is not about an event that just moves on. This is about awareness, action, and accountability. Right? It's awareness, action, and accountability. So those organizations that we know want to do good, we're going to help them do good by helping to elevate their voices. Those people who are having challenges, we're also going to support that work around how we can drive change together. So I just want to say thank you again. If anyone doesn't have any final words before I bring my own piece into this place, then I'm just going to say thank you. My level of gratitude for each of you who are on the screen today, who joined us. I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for George Zena, who has poured hours and hours of energy into this work, y'all. And it's not about us showing up on this screen. It's about the work that we're building, that's transcripts, manuscripts, videos, content, roadmap to success that we're pulling together as a part of really driving change. I thank God for the Black Collective. I thank God for everyone who shows up every Saturday for 52 years. Talk a little bit about the Black Collective in the name of Jesus real quick, Cynthia, before we get off this call. The Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective, which has met for 53 years.
Right. I think Ms. Peace Queen said it well, is that it was created for us, by us. And so it is a space where we welcome and we re-energize and we strategize and we support each other on our terms, the way who we are, the way we want to be, the way we want to present. And it's just amazing. And we cover all kinds of areas like health and wellness, like economic development, like policy development, environmental justice. I mean, we are out there, legal. We watch public safety. We look at data. We also do things to encourage us and to talk about our culture and how rich it is, and that it is not monolithic by any means. And we talk about cooking. And we talk about, raising our babies and what does it mean to create generational wealth? How do we empower and be there for our elders who suffered quite a bit? I mean, we learned a lot through the pandemic about the impact on our young people. But what about our seniors and our elders? There was a major impact. And how do we reach back and help our elders deal with the loss that they went through during the pandemic? We cover a bunch of issues, but again, it's on our terms. And so I would encourage anyone to join us, to have that conversation. It's a safe space. It's a wonderful place. I thoroughly enjoy it. And Dr. Tracy is amazing. Every time she opens up and shares, I mean, it's like, the cloud disappears, the sun comes out, you hear the birds, and then here come an eagle swoop down. It's beautiful.
That is so funny. I say the same thing about you. So you see why it's so much better together? We are eagles. Sabrina, before we go, you actually use the language a lot. You talk about eagles and you talk about transformation. Talk about this concept of we really are. Each of us are doing things, right? The better together concept is saying we're thriving. How do eagles thrive?
Well, it's really fascinating, the research I did before I started the course, Eagle Evolutionaries, that actually evolved into Bountiful, my advanced transformational course. There's a lot about eagles, particularly the bald eagle, that I didn't know. One is that they are covenant partner birds. So till one of them dies, they're partnered. They share in the raising of the young. They share in the sitting on of the eggs. So again, there's the synergy, better together. And then they also don't start their nest over each year. They put them in high cliffs and they build on the egg and they build on the nest. So there's a lot about finances we can learn instead of having to start from zero every year. When you build with others, what can happen, right? And then there's also this concept of the eagle consciousness, right? When you look at how the bald eagle is designed, the engineering that went into that bird is staggering. And so to me, Black people are bald eagles in terms of our engineering, our genius, our mastery, our equipping. But we have been operating with a pigeon consciousness because of the conditioning of the larger culture. And so it's about waking up because you're already designed, you're already equipped, you're already engineered, you know what I'm saying? So that's why that identity piece is so important. So let us remind each other that we are designed and to be and to live as eagles. And then eagles, we think they're solitary birds, but they fly in kettles, like a kettle on the stove, but they fly so high you can't even see them. So they're not solitary birds. They also float on the air currents together. So we have a lot to learn from that majestic bird, and I consider all of us fellow eagles on this call.
Thank you so much. Dr. Carter, any final words that you want to share as the 2023 president of the National Black MBA Association?
Echoing something that you said, I just want to extend a thank you to everyone who's assisted and participated. The research, the meetings, the time that goes into putting something like this together is staggering. And it just cannot be done by one person alone. It takes a family, it takes a village. And we are just so very thankful to everyone who's been there with us from the beginning. Thank you so much.
I love it. And Lord, I'm just going to pray right now that you continue to refresh us those people that are doing this work in the community, that are focused on fostering inclusion, that are working to build their businesses, Lord, that are working to elevate Black wealth, Lord, that are pouring into our youth. We ask that you pour into those who pour into others, Lord. Continue to fill our cups. Let this year, 2023, be a year of overflow, a year of true overflow, Lord. We ask right now that you make it easy for us to do this work, because we know that it is better together. We thank you and we praise you. We ask for continued direction and we ask for correction. In the Creator's name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thanks, y'all. I'm so blessed.